David, D4VD. For those of you guys who don't know much about this guy, he basically got his startup doing music on like YouTube and stuff, I think. And he started making a name for himself. But obviously, when you start gaining fame and popularity, you should already be doing the right thing, but it also means it comes with great responsibility. And let's just say we're just going to watch the video because this is very disheartening.
One moment you could be at the height of your career, performing at Coachella, rocking viral video after viral video, and even getting your own Fortnite skin. Then fast forward a little bit over a year and you're in a courtroom facing life in prison and or worse. So with all the information we have right now, it seems like David threw his life away. He's the singer who went viral for his whole song, Romantic Homicide, and he just pled not guilty to charges of taking the life of a teenage girl who vanished last year. So
this is it.
1 year since she went missing and around 6 months after she was discovered in an abandoned Tesla that was linked to David, there's finally been some movement towards justice in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. And it's safe to say, I mean, it is not looking good for David right now, considering he's currently looking.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And there's potential evidence out there possibly for allegations for like grooming her technically, because she might have been like 12 when they first started talking. Allegations are that she probably was upset about something. He didn't like it. She wanted to expose everything, and then this happened.
At, 3 different sets of charges, all of them equally as serious. Not to mention how long it took for the authorities to actually bring these charges forward. I mean, like I said, it's been half a year. So it's safe to say there's been some serious outrage. I mean, people were mad at the police for not immediately throwing David behind bars when everything was first coming out. Since, the overwhelming majority of people who did one Google search realized, this doesn't look good for the guy. But again, these sorts of accusations follow someone forever. And if it did come out that he was not guilty, it would be a terrible look for the police. So, I mean, if there's a chance that they could be accusing a, massive singer for this horrific crime, that's not one they want to take. But
there's still people out here for even probably today, they're still like, no, he didn't do it.
It's not to say that they didn't do anything, because if you look at all the information they just recently released, again, it's not looking good for David whatsoever. And if you saw my last video on this, we saw this arrest coming from a mile away, and thank goodness someone's actually being held responsible for this girl's passing. But if you're not fully aware of what I'm talking about, I'll give you some backstory before we go into what's next for David and why he's currently behind bars. So David, or David Anthony Burke, he blew up on TikTok in 2022 when he was making his own music to avoid copyright strikes on his own Fortnite edits. Which sounds ridiculous, but I guess he was trying to circumvent the predatory music labels who saw 3 seconds of their own music being used on some 10-minute YouTube video, and then they claim 100% of the revenue from that video. That's a problem in its own, but that turned out to be a blessing in disguise for this guy, because then he realized, he was pretty decent at making music. And when all these Fortnite edits started going viral, people started listening more and more to his music. I mean, the dude was basically an overnight sensation because he went from being basically a nobody to having millions of followers, being signed to Interscope Records, performing at Coachella, opening for SZA on tour, and creating music that, wildly popular TV shows was using. And fans loved his personality online, and honestly, some of his songs are decently catchy, so I understand why they blew up. Plus, he recorded and produced some of his early music.
I never listened to any of the music.
So that also intrigued people and wanting to know how he did all this on just his phone. So I guess he had a cool thing going, but his most popular song being titled Romantic Homicide, and some of his music videos featuring, bodies
this is what
in
made
cars, that had people's spidey sense.
This is what made people thinking, was that song? And then all of a sudden, a Tesla linked to him was found.
This is tingling when the remains of a 15-year-old girl was found in a Tesla linked to him.
Keep in mind what he just said. He said 15, not 16, not 17, not 18, 15.
I mean, after seeing that video now, knowing what the allegations towards him are, what kind of self-report is this? This is just unbelievable. And this story is about as horrifying as it gets, because in September of last year, Employees at Hollywood Impound, they noticed a foul smell coming from what seemed to be an abandoned Tesla. So when police arrived and searched for the vehicle, they unfortunately...
And this was months later. So her body was sitting there for, I think it was like 2 or 3 months later, just rotting in the trunk of this car, like this Tesla, just rotting. So much so that then it smelled. Somebody smelled the body, and then it was found.
The
That's
remains
horrible.
of a 15-year-old girl who was later identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And immediately it was reported that the Tesla was connected to David and had originally been abandoned by his rental home before it was towed to the lot. At the time, though, David was actually on his North American tour.
And he was on tour. Wow. Wow. On tour while they found a body of a 15-year-old girl in a vehicle connected to him. Probably singing the song.
And his distance from the tragedy allowed fans to convince themselves that this is just some terrible coincidence that he couldn't possibly be involved in. There's a reason why this channel highlights the internet's most...
And honestly, to you, I think that the tour was probably planned, but like being on tour as they found this was probably great for him, because there's so many people, like the last video, like David Cross's last video, that are just in line. They're told one thing. Oh, David, no, he's on tour right now. He couldn't have done that. Oh, okay. Well, he couldn't have done it. He's in Tennessee right now. You found the body today? The body's 3 months old. Well, but you found it today, right? He's on tour, which means it couldn't be him, right? Right? It's not connected. Dude, there's literally people with what I just said that are out there that are going nuts about this.
Ridiculous
and
moments.
Saying that.
Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Because when you're seriously hurt, your injury could be...
You're running an ad for a law firm? What? Everybody give Toadsie a round of applause. His content covering legal is so good that he's got himself an ad.
And
that's not sarcasm, by the way. That's awesome.
Else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. And Morgan & Morgan does not settle for lowball offers. With over $30 billion recovered for clients, Morgan & Morgan knows a thing or two about fighting for the compensation you deserve. And with over 1,000 lawyers and hundreds of offices nationwide, it's kind of like having an entire army on your side. Not all law firms are the same, because if you hire the wrong one, you may lose before you even get started. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/Tozy. And if you end up working with them, their fee is completely free unless you win. And you can find the link at the top of the description down below to see if you actually have a claim. But without further ado, let's continue the video. Once details started emerging, like the fact the victim...
Could you imagine? Slash a Toadsie. Yeah, that's awesome.
Even had a matching tattoo with David, and there was seen photos of him and a girl who looked...
So also, I don't know if he's going to say this too, but allegedly, allegedly they think that there's use of a chainsaw to chop up her body and to take the finger that had the tattoo of his name on it. So like this body was chopped up.
Looks identical to her. It became harder and harder to ignore the signs here.
As D4VD. Now, when this news came out, nobody thought in the slightest that David was actually behind a cold-blooded murder. I mean, there's no way that a pop artist who recently skyrocketed to fame would just ruin their life by murdering someone, right?
And as I mentioned in my last video, right? I mean, once the dominoes started falling in this case, they were really tumbling quickly because people started finding more and more evidence that these two were linked a little bit more together than just some vague pictures, because there were Discord messages and Reddit posts that were reported to be from David and his community that started to make it very obvious that David's fans were at least aware of his interest in underage girls, as well as his connection to a girl by the name of Celeste. So there was even chats with David and a user named Celeste in his Discord server where they were clearly flirting and claiming they were expecting a baby. And yet other Discord users seemed to confidently tell people that David and Celeste
possible baby
were dating. And the worst part is there are a few past messages from people in the Discord server calling him out for his part in Celeste's disappearance and trying to solicit young girls in general. So I mean, clearly this is a horrifying pattern. There were even reportedly a few people in his community trying to get the info out long before Celeste was found. So take these Reddit posts, for example. There were clearly people calling him out. But again, before the discovery of Celeste,
My girlfriend thinks one of the bodies they found in a trunk is her friend who ran away with some guy. Crazy, she was just telling me about this, and then I read your comment. What was this last one? This guy is from what I've heard, my sister who is in ninth grade told me he was dating an eighth grader. Let's call her C, and she said she would go on trips with him to LA. They're all in ninth grade now. It turns out C's friends knew, and he would pay them to keep their mouth shut. C has been missing for over a month, and now no one knows her whereabouts.
people calling him out. But again, before the discovery of Celeste, and I guess even immediately after, lots of people didn't want to believe their new favorite artist.
But at the same time, though, you can't just expect the cops to just run with that information and make an arrest because, like he said at the beginning of this video, they would look stupid and they would lose public trust.
Could be
people are out there already have
horrific. And I guess they were
their
just
thoughts on the
throwing
police.
all the allegations under the rug like it was some witch hunt. Even though, like I mentioned, his discography didn't exactly paint him out to be a saint. If anything, it only really just implicated him. I mean, just look at these lyrics. This doesn't look good whatsoever. But even though he maintained,
Dude, there's so many rappers out there that they rap and they're just like, yeah, I'm just singing about my life. You're gonna go to prison. You're gonna go to prison if you say that out loud.
at the time, or at least wasn't addressing the situation, David still canceled the rest of his tour once Celeste was found. And I said this in my last video that this move made sense even if he wasn't guilty of all this, because, you know, the spectacle that started to build around his story would have made it impossible for a normal show to go on. But certainly it didn't.
Yeah,
look
I
good.
guess.
But for months,
I guess that's
rumors
true.
flew back and forth. The home.
Because I was gonna say I didn't agree with him, but because he said that, I do agree. Because as the concert and the tour went on, there'd just be more and more unrest. So no, I think he's right.
Owners that David was renting from hired their own private investigators to look into things. Law and Crime was reporting extensively on this, which unfortunately usually was just more speculation and no real movement. So we didn't have too many answers
Even
for
the
a
rental
long time.
place
And it
set up an
actually felt like
investigation.
for a while that nothing was happening. People threw out stupid theories like Celeste had probably overdosed and the crime was more moving her. But regardless, you had a kid that lost their life somehow and was left in a trunk for months. This is as bad as it gets. But finally, on April 16th, David was arrested, and on April 20th, he was formally charged with first-degree murder, as well as murder for financial gain and murder of a witness to an investigation. And
Did they do this because she was 14 at the time? You think? Or was she really 14?
it was also released that
Is he gonna
she
be
was
addressed
essentially
in the video?
stabbed, which is just horrifying. So that completely invalidates the whole ODing speculation. And the LA District Attorney's Office released a statement claiming this, which is nothing short of just horrifying. And it doesn't get better because they also dropped a bombshell to, I guess, seemingly confirm a lot of people's suspicions about David's actions. All of
When she was threatened to expose his criminal conduct and devastate his musical career, Burke allegedly, and stuff, in bags and placed her in the trunk of her car. 4 months until it was found at a tow yard, September 8th.
this is just so beyond disgusting. But they ended the statement by saying, to Celeste's loved ones, we will get the justice you seek and deserve. And it seems like the statements just got worse and worse. They're saying that he was in fact involved with a minor and that when he blew up, and I guess she threatened to expose him for his crimes, he decided he only had one choice, which I guess was doing this for financial gain, because what they're alleging he was trying to do was save his music career. And it's all just so tragic. A child had to pay for all of this, and the dude still lost his career regardless. And the DA also mentioned that a part of the reason all this took so long for them to press charges was the condition of Celeste and I guess the cooperation or lack thereof cooperation of some of the witnesses. So just as suspected, they just want to have all of the information possible. And it's safe to say they now have a lot of information. They also found a bazillion gigabytes of the worst possible thing to have on your devices. So that's not good either. I mean, everything about this
no.
case is really alleging that David is the worst of the worst of human beings. So now David is being held without bail, and he's had his lawyers
Good.
enter a not guilty plea for him on Monday. So I guess the dude is just going out kicking and screaming, because I don't think anyone believes him at this point. I am surprised his lawyers do, or honestly, they're probably just doing their
That's
job.
their
And obviously,
job.
they're
That's their
going for
job.
life in prison, but not only life in prison, they're also going for that step up as well. So again,
Ooh.
not looking good for David here. So regardless, I will be following the updates on this case. I might actually show up to the case as well. We'll see. I'm glad Celeste and her family
Just don't
are
show
finally
up to
getting
the wrong-
some sort
don't
of
show up
justice,
when it's,
because
moved
no
again.
kid nor family should ever
Like
have
the
to go
Johnny
through
Somali.
something like this. But regardless, I'll see you guys next video. Peace.
And I might have said that wrong. When I said allegedly, there might have been like a saw or chainsaw use. It might have just been the knife stabbing. I'll have to look more into it. But yeah, life possible. Oh man, that's awful though. It's disgusting that that had to happen though. That's awful. That is horrifying. It's horrifying. It's it's horrifying. It's absolutely disgusting. He's found guilty, then absolutely rot.